Hello, this is Kate with Kate's Paper Creations, and it's time for the paper pumpkin alternatives for the December, December, I had to think about that for a minute, the December kit, which is called Berry Comforting. So just getting started on what's in the kit, and here's some of the pictures. These cute little koala bears with a sentiment space between them and some hearts, cupcakes, these cute little critters, the bear and what is that, a fox or a raccoon or something? I'm not sure. Some pretty pieces here, some envelopes with some lovely stripes inside, and then 3 different card bases. Just really pretty card bases. These are all really quite lovely. I just really do like these card bases. It's going to be hard to think about cutting them up or whatever, but I might. And this is the picture for the kit of how you're supposed to use them. It's set up so that the koala bears can hold the cupcake, and this little bear can hold the flowers, and the little raccoon can hold the heart. And so that's how they're designed to be made. But let's see what we can do with them alternatively. Before I get too far along, though, I forgot. I should show you the stamp set that comes with the kit as well. So it has a cute little bear and a cluster of flowers, which I had to stamp twice because I got messy on that one. And this little cluster of petals and these 3 sentiments. And the color for the kit this month is Rich Razzleberry. So I just wanted to be sure and add that into the mix. And when you're punching out those circles and squares, I again will probably save these and cut these out to use for some other projects. Just so you know, it's really easy to do. Just take those handy dandy snips that we have and just work your way around the outside edge, and you can create a frame that you could use. Now it does flatten that one side just a little bit, but you know that's where you could put a sentiment or a cluster of something and cover up that one spot and still use it as a frame around something. And so I'm just showing you what you can do with that, you know, utilizing every little minuscule piece of your kit and not wasting any more than you absolutely have to. This makes it kind of fun to do. So you get to see me salvage one of these today, and I'm probably, whoops, dropped it there, probably going to try and make some kind of a kit with it, or some kind of a card with it. It's just too cute not to use. And get all the way around there, and so it saves that piece, and maybe we'll be using it, and maybe we'll be using the frames. So we'll see what happens. Okay, on to designing. Okay, I've got one more minor interruption before we start, and that is I wanted to explain that I've seen a lot of people asking questions about how you store the leftovers from your kits and so on and so forth. So I wanted to share a little bit of what I do. Now, when I get a set from my paper pumpkin, the first thing I do is stamp the images onto something and scan them into my computer, and I create a case cover. You can put that case cover into a standard Stampin' Up! Case, and it has the name on it, and for each year I use a different color for the heading. So prior years were yellow and pink, and now they're blue, and come January 1st I'll be making another different color, probably green or some other color, so that when they're on my shelf I can see what year they were from and so on. And then on the bottom here I put the date and the month and the name of the set, and then I try to stamp these and scan them in the color that comes with the kit as well, just because. So that's what I do. You can put them in a standard case like this, or which is what I do, because all I keep in it is just the stamp set. And then I parcel out any pieces that are left over. If I have sentiment tags, for instance. I have another case that's just called sentiment tags, and I throw it in there, and then when I'm making cards and I need something to stamp a sentiment on and I don't want to stop and cut something out or whatever, I can just pull that down off the shelf and utilize those pieces, those leftover pieces. Now, I don't typically have a lot of trouble with what to do with what's left over in my kit, because I take everything I haven't used when I get done making all my alternatives, and I put them all back in the box, and I have a friend I give them to, and she share with, and she uses them with her grandchildren, and they just have all kinds of fun with the leftover pieces. So like from this particular set, her grandkids are going to love these little bears and koalas and stuff. And so that's what I do with the pieces I don't use. Now, everybody's different. So I have another customer who wants to keep all of her things together. So she puts her case cover into one of the larger stamp cases, and then all the pieces, including the stamp set, the ink pad, if she wants it that way, everything goes in here, and it's labeled on the back what month and date and everything. And that's what she chooses to do, and this just gives her more space to save all the pieces that she uses and keeps from the set. Another thing I do for my Stampin' Spots, because you get that Stampin' Spot every month with the kit, and they try to vary those. This isn't a very good example. I have 2 boxes. I'm going to reach over here and get the other one. And some of mine are homemade, but the ones you see that are... these came from Paper Pumpkins, and as I kit them, I just put them in here, and it works perfect. I got these from from Walmart, and it just holds them perfectly. And of course, I have Stampin' Spots for all of my inks, not just the ones from Paper Pumpkin, because I use them when I'm using my Stamparatus. But these work really slick for keeping my Stampin' Spots in a case where I can use them, and I have them labeled on the end. These are the in color and neutral Stampin' Spots, and this is the Regal Subtles Brights in that one. So it just gives me them, and they just sit on the shelf as I roll away and talk a little louder so you can hear me. So that's just some of organizing tips that you might take advantage of for your Paper Pumpkin. Now let's get into the projects. I have 6 projects altogether. I'm not going to try to cram them all into one video. Videos get too long if you do that. So let's just start with one, and we'll see how far we get. The first alternative I'm going to do is, I don't have the finished card. I'm just going to show you what I got started with. These are the pieces I am using. I'm using additional products that are not in the kit. In this particular card are the Whisper White Thick base card, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4, makes an A2 greeting card. That's the extra product that I brought in for this particular card. And then the extra stamp set, Hugs, Prayers, and Love. That's Positive Thoughts stamp set, but it is stamped with the rich raspberry color that came with the kit. So in the kit is this cute little leaf design, and mine's dirty because I've been using it. And I used the rich raspberry, and I stamped the top and the bottom edges. Then this is a piece that's in the card kit, Stampin' Up! Kit in as well. I am going to just attach it actually flat on the front of the card in the center, just like this. And you could have your stripes go in either direction. It's up to you. I think I want mine to go this way. And I am just centering it from top to bottom and side to side. Just like that. Then this is the little bear that's in the kit. And he comes with one of his arms already picked up, cut out, so you can put something underneath. I wanted this little bear to go under both arms. So I used my X-Acto knife, and I just cut around his other arm, which created both arms being able to lift up. And then I can tuck little Mr. Koala right inside his arms, like this. And I want his arm up there. Let me get it where I want it. There we go. And so it looks like he's hugging the little koala bear. Isn't that cute? So that's how I wanted that to be. Then this I am going to attach with dimensionals. And this particular paper pumpkin kit came with this Mondo, huge sheet of dimensionals. So we got lots of dimensionals that we can raise these pieces up with. And you can put however many you think it needs. This is what I think is adequate. And we're going to put Mr. Bear on there. And I'm going to put him to the side like this. And then this Hugs, Prayers, and Love, this circle with the gold foil band, that's in the kit. And I just used it to stamp that Hugs, Prayers, and Loves from Positive Thoughts. And come out of there. There we go. And I'm going to just attach it down here like this. And there is card alternative number 1. Very simple and so cute. Okay, card number 2. Let's see what we can do here. Find it here. This is going to be card number 2. And for this particular card, I'm using from the kit, the Koala Bear and the bouquet of flowers. And I cut one of the card fronts off. Get a hold of one to show you. I cut one of these card fronts off, and I cut 3 pieces. And let me get my measurements. Each one of these pieces is not written down. Let me get this. I think they're 1 1/4. Nope, they're 1 1/2. 1 1/2 by 4. And I cut the 3 pieces like that. And I'm attaching them with dimensionals. I've already placed 1 piece, and I'm going to peel off the backs of these. And I'm placing my 2 end pieces to get the spacing I want on each end. And so it's about 1/8 of an inch, maybe a little bit more from the end, and then top to bottom, trying to just get them as even as I possibly can. Just a second. There we go. I think that's going to be better. There we go. So there's those 2. And then the 3rd piece, I will just center between the 2. So the spacing is, I don't have to think about spacing. There we go. So there's the 3 of those. Then the little Koala Bear, I don't know what your thoughts are, but I felt like they had too much white around them. And so I trimmed down so there's less white around him. And his little hand in the original is designed to pop up like the bear's and hold something, as you can see with this one. But what I'm going to do is just attach the flowers so it looks like he's holding the flowers. So I will just put a little tiny bit of Tombow on the back of that and attach the flowers to the back of his little paw there, so it looks like he's holding them. And then I'm thinking what I'd like to do, I'm not sure where I want to place him. I'm thinking I like him right there. And then I think I'm going to put the You Are On My Mind up here. And because I've already popped the background, I'm just going to put them on with flat, with regular adhesive. And I like him sitting down here. I think that's kind of cute. Then this You Are On My Mind, that's in the stamp set, but it's a double layer. You Are On My Mind. And it doesn't fit on here, on this tag. So what I did is I used the marker, the Rich Razzleberry marker, and I colored the You Are On, and then I stamped it. Now I cleaned it up really well and colored the My Mind and stamped it. So that's how I did that, to get it all on one line where I wanted it. And then I'm just going to put this right up here like this. And there is card number 2. Maybe we will get through all of these. We'll see. Then card number 3. No, that's not card number 3. This is card number 3. And what I did with card number 3 is I took a piece of Whisper White thick. That's the outside piece that's not in the kit. Then I took apart one of the envelopes, and the inside of these envelopes, I just peeled it apart. If you haven't seen it done, it's pretty easy to do. I'll just do one. Let me find an envelope here. Because the color goes all the way down inside. So I just carefully peeled up side 1 and side 2 and opened up the things. And there's plenty in here to cut down for the card front that you want. And there'll be plenty you can use for a couple of different cards. I cut this one down to cover the whole front of the card. This is where I started experimenting, and I didn't like how it turned out, so I'm going to cover it up. So I don't waste my... I just ran out of Tombow. Let's see, I got some Stampin' Seal here. We'll use that instead. And like I say, I cut this just to cover the entire front of the card. So cover up my mistake from earlier, or actually it wasn't a mistake, it was just experimentation. And I didn't like what I was doing. So there we go. Covered the front of the card with the stripes. So pretty. Then I took one of the cards fronts, and I cut down this piece from the card front, and it is 5 by 2.5, and then I just cut the tag thing in the center, and I'm going to place it on here like this. And again, it's just going to go on flat. I'm having trouble with this. There we go. And I'm going to center it side to side and make it flush with the top of the card. So it comes down like that. Then another outside piece that I used, this is a piece of Calypso Coral, which is one of the colors in the kit. And I used the Layering Circles dies, and this is the second largest circle. And it's going to go on here. And then I'm going to put a white circle, which is a 2.5-inch circle punch, and I'm going to layer it so it looks like that. And I am going to put it on here also, and I'm going to also make it just flat. And again, centering it pretty much from top to bottom and side to side, just like that. Then these little guys holding the present, I'm going to put on with dimensionals. And I'm just going to center them over this little circle in the center, just like that. Just like that. And then I was thinking I'd like it to say happy birthday. It's got the gift and everything. And so I pulled out Itty Bitty Greetings. And I will use the Rich Razzleberry. I'm going to use my larger stamp pad. But of course, if you don't have that, you've got the one that came with the kit. And I'm just going to put happy birthday right up there like that. And there's card number 3. Okay, card number 4. Okay, card number 4. It's a Whisper White base, standard A2 size. This is part of a card I used for the to make the tag, and I saved this piece of it, and I'm going to put it on the front of the card. I cut it down to fit perfectly, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and so it's going to go on the card front. I had temporary tape on here because I was designing, and I don't know where I want everything at first, so I put temporary adhesive on so I can, or removable I guess it's called, so that I can experiment with it a little bit before everything is permanent. Come back here. Don't fly away from me. And put down these pieces. There we go. There's the front of our card. Then I saved this from the envelope piece that I cut for the last card we just did. I saved a strip of that. I am going to put that on here. Get the temporary tape off so I can put permanent tape on it. And it is 3/8 of an inch wide by 5 1/2 inches long. And I am just laying it right on that seam that you can see where the card fold had been, and that will hide that card fold seam, and put a piece of colorful paper on there. Then what I'm going to do is I again have another little koala, and I am going to put a little bit of adhesive on the back of his paw, and this is one facing the other direction, and I am going to slide this in here like this so he's holding it, and then I'm just going to attach him to this circle, and he's just going to attach flat to the circle, and I'm offsetting the circle just a little bit, so it kind of looks like he's got a little glowing spot behind him. I kind of liked that. Okay, and then this Happy Birthday is one of the tags. The Happy Birthday again came from the Itty Bitty Greetings, and I am going to just put a little bit of adhesive on the end of this and attach it back here like that. So there's my art piece, and this whole thing's going to get attached with dimensionals. This kit has really so many possibilities of things you could do with it. I'm not even touching the tip of the iceberg. I know that there are literally dozens of ideas out there, so don't hesitate to go looking around. However, if you don't have a Paper Pumpkin subscription yet, I would love to have you subscribe with me. I give all of my people that case cover. I make that for them, and then of course they get to participate in the alternatives that I make, and if they're local, I do a gathering where we can put together a couple of the alternative kits that I've designed. If you're not local, I send you the kits so that you can make the kits yourself. I send you all the extras, and then you use some of your own materials from your kit, and you can make the cards that I make. So consider that if you don't have someone that you subscribe with already. So, and there is card number 4. Okay, card number 5. I started with the same Whisper White base. This one I'm making a top fold card. I took a piece of Calypso Coral. I cut it 4 1/4 by 5 by 5 1/4, excuse me. And I used the Calypso Coral ink pad and this little lovely leaf cluster and went around the edge, tone on tone. And I'm going to attach that to the card front, just flat. And centering it is what I'm going to do. There we go. Then I took a piece of Whisper White, and let me measure it because I never remember. This is 2 3/4 by 4 1/4. And I stamped with the little cluster of flowers, and I stamped them with Calypso Coral. And then I came back with the Old Olive Dark Blends pen, and I colored in the leaves and the stems, and I thought it just looked lovely that way. And I am going to attach it to the front just flat. I wanted something that was a little more elegant looking than cutesy. Cutesie's fun, but, you know, I wanted to see some options. And I felt like this was just a little bit more of an elegant looking card. And I'm just going to center that on here like that. And then I did the same thing I did before. I stamped that "You Are on My Mind" in one of these rectangular sentiment tags, and I stamped it with Calypso Coral. And I am going to attach this little heart to it like this with just a little bit of adhesive, just like that. And then I'm going to attach this whole sentiment piece with dimensionals. We had so many, you know, I might as well be using them, right? And, you know, there's just something fun about making a card a little bit dimensional. It just makes it even more special. You know, when we used to get the cards from the store, or the Hallmark cards or whatever, shame on me for saying that word, right? We loved the ones that had the extra layers and sparkles and things that moved and things that, you know, well, I always thought those were really special cards. So that's what I try to do here. Now I can put this on just straight like this, or I can put it on an angle, and I think I'm in an angle mood today. So there we go. There is card number 5. Card number 6 is not a card. Card number 6 is a box. And I learned how to make boxes by watching Sun Stamping, S-U-N-N Stamping. You'll have to check out her blog. She's a demonstrator in Canada, and she comes up with some really lovely ideas. And she also comes up with some really spectacular paper pumpkin ideas as well. She did not make a box, I don't think, this month. I'm not sure. But anyway, I learned how to make boxes from her. So I took a regular card and made this box, and I'll show you how I did that. And then just an extra little tip, when it gets all made, you take a circle punch, and this is my little 1/2-inch circle punch, and I punched out half of the 1/2-inch circle. So it creates these little thumb tabs, so that when you put your box together, which is kind of a tight fit, then you've got those little thumb tabs to reach in and pull it apart. Isn't that cute? Ah, I love it. So let's decorate this one while I've got it here. And what I did is I took one of the extra pieces from the kit, these cards like this, and I cut out some of these stems that have the gold trim. And I am going to just attach them to the front of my box. I wanted my box to have lots of leaves, and when I got all done, it just didn't have enough to make me happy. So I am going to attach some. I'm going to get my Zig 2-way glue pen somewhere here. There it is. And my pick tool. And my pokey tool. There we go. And I am going to just add random, actually. They don't need to be in any particular order or anything. I'm just going to put some spots of glue on there, and I am going to just add these to the front of the box. And I don't really care where they go. There's no right or wrong way to do it. I am going to be putting this little koala holding this bouquet on there, and so I might want to just not be covering them up, but you know, go to all that trouble of cutting them out and then cover them up would be kind of silly, I guess. So I'm going to kind of keep them away from the middle of the box, because that's kind of where I'm going to put the pretties. There we go. Okay, so here we are putting this in the little hands of the koala again with just a touch of Tombow or Stamp and Seal or whatever you want to call it. And we're gonna, oops, I better turn it over. There, that looks kind of cute because it looks like he's getting ready to sniff those flowers, and it's making him happy to sniff those flowers. He's such a cute little guy. And again, we're going to put that on the box top with dimensionals. And I'm going to put it on this way. Just like that. And so there's my finished box. Now let me show you how I made it, because there's a couple of little tricks you might need to know. Let's see. Do I have one more of those cards? I do. Okay, so I used a card, and the first thing I did was cut for the bottom piece, and you want the bottom piece to be just slightly smaller so that it'll fit inside when you make the top piece. And when you're cutting it out, you want to make sure that do it uniformly. You know, if you cut, when you put your paper on here to cut, do you put it so you can see the 1/4 inch mark, or do you cover the 1/4 inch mark up? It doesn't matter which way you go, but if you're going to do it the same all the way around. Don't be switching them back and forth, because even just the slightest 1/16 of an inch difference can make a difference in how it all fits together when you're done. So I'm just saying that so you know. I am going to be cutting this at 4 1/4, and I am just covering the 1/4 inch mark. So it is 4 1/4. And actually, I wasn't thinking, I need it to be a 1/16 of an inch smaller. So rather than 4 1/4, I am going to go to 4 3/16. So this is going to take off just a 1/16 of an inch more off the card. Then I'm going to turn it once, and it will be 5 1/2, but I want it to be 5 15/16. Just taking a 1/16 of an inch off will make it work so that it fits nicely inside the lid. Now that I've got that done, I am going to score it, and I'm going to score it 1 inch all the way around. Like this. Just like that. And I'm going to take this out of the way for a second. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the flaps that you're going to turn and glue inside to make the box. And so what I do is, you can see the score line that you just made, and I'm going to cut down to that score line right there. Then I'm going to cut just a little tiny bit at an angle like that off the corners, so that they'll fit down inside when I put it together. Then I'm going to turn it once, and I'm going to trim to the score line, create the flap. Don't worry about them being perfect. They're going to be inside the box. Then again, and again, and then turn it one more time, and to there. Then create the angle, just like that. So there are all the corners cut and trimmed and ready to build. Then I'm going to turn it over and score all my lines. Now, you could have scored it before you cut those corners, but what I found is that kind of makes the seams harder to see. They're not as distinctive. So I do the cutting beforehand so that I've got a real distinctive and clean line to cut against, so that it holds the whole shape better. Okay, so there we are. This is what it's going to look like. You're going to have the 4 corners and your 4 sides. And I am going to just use my liquid glue that I use for all of my paper projects. Unplug it a little bit. Just wanting to be plugged up. There we go. And I'm just going to put some glue on each of these flaps. And the main part you want the glue on is you want to get it next to the seam, because that's where you want it to fit nice and tight, and then a little bit on the rest of it as well. So I'm just doing that, but it's mainly on that corner that's going to be showing. Okay, and if you need to, you can always just do a little bit. I keep a wet wipe handy for that kind of thing to wipe my fingers on. And we're going to just attach those. You can see what I'm doing from the top. Nice thing about glue is it gives you a little bit of time to adjust, but the not nice thing about it is sometimes you have to wait a little while for it to stick really well. And so there is your box bottom, made with the plain side of the card. Now let me show you, hopefully. Well, look at that. Ain't that just the sweetest thing you ever saw? It actually worked. Okay. Oh, I love it when a plan comes together. Okay, now we're going to do the top. And the top is going to be the full size, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And so, again, I am using it where I cover up the 4 1/4 line. And if anything needs to come off, it will come off when I run my thing down, and it isn't. It's good. Okay. And then the 5 1/2 mark, putting it right over that. And again, nope, everything's square and kosher. Okay, so now we are going to score at the 1 inch mark. And again, I'm covering up my marks. Okay, and 1 inch all the way around. Super, super simple. And you can do this with any size that you choose. You just want to make this one, the bottom part, just a hair bit smaller. And like I say, in this case, it was just a 1/16 of an inch. Exactly what I wanted. There we go. Okay, there's the scoring all done. And then you get to watch as I trim right on that score mark up to the center. Cut my little pieces off, turn it once, cut the flap. There we go. Turn it one more time, cut, make that mark, and do that one, and one more time. Once you know how to make these boxes, your possibilities are just endless of what you can do for decorating them and what you could put in them and all of that. Okay, let's turn these over and score them. It works really nice to be scoring them. If you don't, then it's going to fight you as you try to put it together. It works much, much better if you score them. And we're going to hope that I did it well. The test is coming. If it doesn't work, I'm going to throw it to the side and grab the one that's finished and say, there you go. Don't mind me. I'm trying to be funny. Okay. And, you know, because it doesn't always come out perfect. Sometimes things don't come out perfect. Okay. Here we go. Sticking this sides together just the same way we did the box bottom. Matching up those corners. If you get a little extra glue, you can just wipe it off. It dries clear and it's not going to hurt a thing. I didn't get too much glue, so I think it's going to be fine. And there is the box top. And then remember, here's that little 1/2 inch circle punch. And I'm going to come in and just punch out just slightly half of it centered, just like that. You could put them on the ends just as easily. Depends on where you want the little cutouts to be, but there they are. And here comes the test. Hold your breath, drum the roll the drum, whatever you want to do. And let's see if it fits. And it does, nice and snug. And there is the box. So there are my 6 paper pumpkin alternatives for you for this month for December's kit. Very comforting. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. and that if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, that you will. And if you do not have a Paper Pumpkin subscription, I hope you'll consider subscribing with me. A link to my store will be in the description box below. Thanks for stopping by.